to me, 2011, 9/11 was like a surreal experience. It was a bad dream. I was the chief executive officer of Goldman Sachs at the time. I was in a plane heading to China over Russia, and it was around 9:30 in the morning, and I called into the office to talk to my chief of staff, John Rogers. And he said, "Hank, we've had a huge tragedy. An airplane has flown into the World Trade Center and it's burning, and we don't know yet whether it was an accident or whether it was something worse." And then while we were talking, the second plane came by and hit the tower. And as I talked with him, I could hear people screaming on the floor as they were watching later people jump out in this just terrible, terrible scene, jump out of the window at the World Trade Center. And we agreed that I needed to land as soon as possible. I put down in China. I called the office. By now, the television everywhere was showing video of this event. I felt I needed to get back to Goldman Sachs, needed to be back with my firm. They weren't allowing any non-military flights at the time. So I turned around, went to our Hong Kong office, talked to the office, went out on the trading floor, talked to the individuals, and then worked with my office to get approval to fly back. And as it turned out, I was the first traveler allowed to fly back. I was able to fly back in a couple days because I ran a Wall Street firm that was right at the center there, right near ground zero, and we needed to get the markets up and going. And I remember just vividly as we got over Alaska, having an F-16 on each wing, you know, all the way back, landing at White Plains and just seeing, it was an overcast day, just seeing police cars everywhere, landing at the airport there, then having a police escort taking me downtown, going by ground zero, and just looking at the smoldering ashes, and then going into our offices. And then the next several days were extraordinary because we had a team of people working around the clock with the New York Stock Exchange to get the markets up and going for Monday. And those that were there working were engaged, and they weren't consumed with fear. But all those people that were at home watching this video over and over again, you know, it was actually very difficult to get them to come back to work. And I can remember with John Thane, who was one of our co-presidents and chief operating officers, who just did a magnificent job doing everything. I remember being on a management committee call and a couple of management committee members saying, "Is it safe for people to come in?" And John saying, "Well, all of us canaries are still alive down here." But it was just a horrendous experience. But you also saw the very best and the best of humanity.